This is the AB4WS radio show. Every week, bringing you the exciting amateur radio news and information happening in the greater Cincinnati, Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana areas.
The AB4WS radio show can be found on the Apple Podcast app or your favorite podcast application. And now also available on the AB4WS radio show YouTube channel. With the loss of the Kentucky section manager, Alan Morgan, KY10, Great Lakes Division Director Scott Yonley, N8SY, is looking for someone to help fill those shoes. The section is in need of a robust and effective leader by a dedicated individual who can devote the time and ability to steer the Kentucky section into the future. The position shepherds everything from ARES to member services and public relations across the Commonwealth. Time has come for us to ask ourselves, what can we do for the Kentucky section? Now is the time for you to take on the challenge and become a driving force needed to shape the future of the ARRL in Kentucky. This is your opportunity to dedicate your skills and passion to the continued growth and success of amateur radio in the Commonwealth. With this substantial commitment comes the rewards in terms of service to the community and carving out the future of the hobby in Kentucky. God is looking for that special person who is ready to take on this challenge. Are you up for the challenge? If so, send Scott an email at n8sy@arrl.org. On October 17th through the 19th is the Scouts Jamboree on the Air, which provides an opportunity for millions of Scouts around the world to meet up on the air using ham radio. Listen out for the Scouts on the air and give them a nice QSO for their log. Ted Chin, K8SGY of Cincinnati, Ohio, lost his battle with cancer and has become a silent key. The proud U.S. Air Force veteran served during the Korean War and was deployed to Germany, serving as a radio intercept operator, monitoring Russian aircraft, and learned Russian Morse code. Ted made the rank of Staff Sergeant before leaving the Air Force after his 4 years of service. Ted was a very well-respected auto mechanic, working for the city of Cincinnati, several auto dealerships, before opening his own auto service. Ted acquired his amateur radio license in 1956 and was active ever since. Ted also was a guitarist, playing a wide variety of music. Our thoughts and prayers to Ted's family and friends. The American Radio Relay League wants everyone to know that just because the government is shut down and the FCC is not issuing licenses, updating licenses, or issuing FRN numbers, you can still take any amateur radio exam. The volunteer examiners will still give the exams and issue certificates of successful completion to you. The ARRL will have all this successful exam information in queue to send to the FCC when they open the doors up. If you do not have an FRN, and since the FCC cannot issue it to you, the VEs have been instructed on how to allow you to take the exam and get your successful completion so that when the FCC opens the doors, you can get your FRN and work towards the FCC issuing your FCC amateur radio license. For more information, go to ARRL.org. On October 11th, the Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club will be holding a Parks on the Air event at US 3779, Big Bone Lick State Historic Site, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. So if you're interested in POTA, or if you just want to see what this radio thing is all about, come on out. You don't even have to have a ham radio license. We may be able to get you on the air with a control operator. It's lots of fun to play radio in the park. On October 11th, the Brunch Bunch will be meeting at 1 p.m. at the Price Hill Chili, 4920 Glenway Avenue in Cincinnati, Ohio. Come join some great hams for some great brunch. Are you interested in the new world of Mesh-tastic? Well, on Monday, October 20th at 7 p.m., the Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club will be meeting at the Bethesda Community Church, 989 East Mount Zion Road in Independence, Kentucky. The club will be having a presentation on the Beginner's Guide to Mesh-tastic by David, KY4DM. It's open to anyone interested in that Mesh-tastic. If you're interested in Mesh-tastic, come on out and learn all about this new form of communication. A heads-up reminder, the Okayan Amateur Radio Club meeting on November 4th will be held at the Laughlin Church of the Nazarene, 335 West Wyoming Avenue in Cincinnati, Ohio, due to the normal location being used for Election Day activities. Tim Lawrence, W4TWL, is looking for an amateur radio operator volunteers to assist with communications for their on-the-run half marathon on November 9th, 2025. The run starts and ends at the Florence Yaw Water Tower. Volunteers are needed to report at 6 a.m. and they'll be finished by around 11 a.m. This is a great event to volunteer for, even if you've never done anything like this before. First of all, the proceeds go to funding the Honor Flight Cincinnati, where veterans get to visit their various memorials in Washington, D.C. Usually this event yields themselves enough donations to fill one plane load of veterans for the honor flight. Second, this is an easy, no-stress event to get your feet wet on working a public service event. If you're not comfortable with the idea, Tim can pair you up with someone who has done the event before at a station to help you gain experience for next year and other events. If you'd like to give it a try, reach out to Tim, W4TWL, at W4TWL@yahoo.com. On November 22nd from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. is the Ohio Aries Conference at the OSU CTOC Warner Library Building, 219 University Drive in Newark, Ohio. Registration is necessary. For more information, go to ars.unioncountyohio.us.
Repeater news.
Are you looking for the most up-to-date list of repeaters in the greater Cincinnati area? Well, I have an Excel spreadsheet where I've listed repeaters that are active in the area, separated by tabs for each band or mode, so you can easily look for just DMR repeaters or 2-meter analog repeaters and so on. The list includes 2 meters, 220, 440, 6 meters, D-Star, DMR, C4FM, P25, and some other classifications. Every time I update the file, I include the date and the file name so that you know you have the latest update. To download the file, go to the AB4WS Radio Show Facebook page and go to the file section and download the file. If you're not on Facebook, email me at ab4ws.radio@gmail.com and I can email you the latest file. If you see any errors, problems, additions, or corrections, email that information to ab4ws.radio@gmail.com.
Hamfest.
October 11th is the Williams County Amateur Radio Association Hamfest at the Williams County Fairgrounds, 619 East Main Street in Montpelier, Ohio. Talk in on the 146.82 repeater with a PL tone of 107.2. On October the 11th, from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. is the Po' Boy Amateur Radio Tailgate Hamfest at the Laurel County Library, 120 College Park Drive in London, Kentucky. Talk in on the 146.610 repeater with a PL tone of 103.5. October 12th is the Ashland Trunk Fest at the Ashland County Fairgrounds, 1740 South Bainey Road in Ashland, Ohio. Talk in on the 147.105 repeater with a PL tone of 71.9. October 25th is the Hazard, Kentucky Hamfest at 1700 North Main Street in Hazard, Kentucky. For more information, contact Johnny, KY4JLB at JLB741@yahoo.com. November 2nd is the 2025 MARC Hamfest at MAPS, which will feature over 100 vendor tables full of electronic gear of all sorts at the Military Aviation Preservation Society, 2260 International Parkway, North Canton, Ohio, just off I-77. For more information, go to w8np.net. On November 8th, the Grant Amateur Radio Club will once again hold the famous Georgetown Hamfest at the ABCAP building, 406 West Plum Street in Georgetown, Ohio. Lots of door prizes will be given away. An amateur radio exam session will be held by the Highland Amateur Radio Association. Talking on the 146.73 repeater with a PL tone of 162.2. For more information, contact Ken, KD8FKU at KD8FKU@gmail.com.
Are you looking to upgrade your license? Do you have someone else that's interested in the hobby? Here are some upcoming exam opportunities.
The Milford Amateur Radio Club holds amateur radio testing on the third Thursday of each month at 6 p.m. at the Miami Township Civic Center, 6101 Meyer Drive in Milford, Ohio. Please pre-register at milfordhamradio.org. The Dayton Amateur Radio Association has exams frequently. For their exam schedule, email exams.w8bi@gmail.com. On October 11th at 10 a.m., the Scott County Amateur Radio Club will host an amateur radio testing session at the Georgetown Police Department, Georgetown, Kentucky. On October 11th at 9 a.m., the Tusco Amateur Radio Society will host an amateur radio testing session at the Dover Faith UMC, 420 North Wooster Road in Dover, Ohio. Walk-ins are okay, and for more information or to register, go to w8zx.net/exam. On October 15th at 6:30 p.m., the Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club will be holding an amateur radio exam session at the Cuyahoga Falls Public Library, 2025 2nd Street in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. You must pre-register by emailing education@cfarc.org. On October 20th at 5:30 p.m., the Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio exam session at the Bethesda Community Church, 989 East Mount Zion Road in Independence, Kentucky. You must register by going to hamstudy.org/sessions/NKY-VE. On October 25th at 10 a.m., the Wilderness Road Amateur Radio Club will host an amateur radio exam session at the American Legion, Post 46 in Danville, Kentucky. On October 28th at 6 p.m., the K4TG VE team will host an amateur radio exam session at the Anderson County Extension Building. Use the rear entrance in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky. On November the 8th at 10 a.m., the Bluegrass Amateur Radio Society will host an amateur radio exam session at the Red Cross Building in Lexington, Kentucky. On November 17th at 5:30 p.m., the Northern Kentucky Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio exam session at the Bethesda Community Church, 989 East Mount Zion Road in Independence, Kentucky. You must register by going to hamstudy.org/sessions/NKY-VE. On December 11th, the DeForest Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio exam session at 6 p.m. at the Adams County Emergency Management Office, 31 Logan's Lane in West Union, Ohio. Please pre-register by emailing k8weh@k8weh@awrl.net or on the k8ge.net website. On December 13th, the Scott County Amateur Radio Club will hold an amateur radio testing session at the Georgetown Police Department in Georgetown, Kentucky. Special thanks to this week's content contributors: WB8VNH, KY4GW, WB8YYS, KD8ZLD, K9HIO, N8LAR, K4NKU.
If you have something you think other amateur radio operators in the area would be interested in, send the information or your recorded audio file attached in an email to ab4ws.radio@gmail.com.
Covering your amateur radio news and information in the greater Cincinnati, Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana tri-state area, this is Jack Prindle, AB4WS in Big Bone, Kentucky.